And thank you to the family for joining us today of Senator Welborn. 10 years ago, during the redistricting process, my state house district picked up Cooper Township, Alamo and Cooper. And one of the first advice I got, I think, from the Madam Secretary was you need to go visit Jack. And there north of Parchment was the Welborn Farm, an antique shop, and filled with a bunch of array of items. And it was something where it was always a pleasure to stop by there and get the advice in support of somebody who understands politics and understands what it means to serve. But if you lived in Southwest Michigan and if you wanted to be active in Republican politics, you knew that journey included going to the Welborn Farm. Senator Welborn was a man of strong beliefs. Those who did not know him personally may have only heard his platform of limited government, low taxes, and support of the unborn. However, he was more than a political platform. He was a man who cared deeply for others, about his community, about our nation, and championed many causes that were not popular at that time. Growing up on the family farm in Cooper Township, Jack Welborn was not afraid of fighting for what he believed in. If you know a dairy farmer, you know they're not afraid of hard work, and they're not afraid to fight for what they believe in. He served our nation as a Naval Reserve. He represented willingness to serve it no matter what the cost. Volunteered as a firefighter, served on the Gull Lake School Board. Should not have come to a surprise to anyone when Senator Welborn announced that he was going to run in 1966 against a longtime incumbent supervisor. Won that race. As a township supervisor, he made a name for himself, taking on the state by championing fair taxes and less government. In fact, Cooper Township prevailed and later in his career would take this experience to the legislature where the tax tribunal legislation was enacted in his first term in office. It was often said that Senator Welborn was a man ahead of his time. It has been said he led the conservative movement before there was a movement, that he was a Reagan conservative before President Reagan knew he was one. A man of conviction, he supported the on-board both in the legislature and his volunteerism with local right to life. He fought for transparency in millages. He voted for the Senate amendments that later created Proposal A. While it's easy to highlight his conservative leanings, Senator Welborn could not be as defined as one-dimensional. He worked hard with his colleagues on both sides of the aisle to champion issues that were not often discussed, let alone popular at that time. Marijuana decriminalization, crime and prison reform, mental health services, supporting Vietnam veterans, we call it PTSD today, preservation of agricultural land, supporting the law school for Western Michigan University, housing and counseling services for young people, increasing access for mobility impaired people to buildings. Again, these are issues we're dealing with today, and he was talking about these 30 years ago, 40 years ago, a man ahead of his time. Public service was never about Jack. It was about serving the state regardless of the issue. He gave up running for re-election so he could run for governor. And when he lost, he went back to the family homestead, content in his service. But when his brother Robert passed away, who went on to serve as a state senator for that district, Jack stepped up again, ran in the special election, and filled his brother's seat. He continued working on issues that impacted everyday people. After 4 decades of public service, in 1994, Senator Welborn returned home, running the family business, Welborn Antiques, on the family property with his beloved wife, Dorothy. What a testament of love and faithfulness. While Senator Welborn has lived a life in the public eye, he left an imprint on both his community and his family. He was credited with playing a key role in preservation of the Colony Farm Orchard, Asylum Lake Preserve, and the Kalamazoo Psychiatric Water Tower. More importantly, he cherished his 3 children, Kayla, Cammie, and John, and his grandchildren, great-grandchildren, nieces, and nephews. Senator Welborn is remembered as a person of honesty, empathy, and principles. And I was fortunate to know Senator Welborn, and I'm better for having learned from him. With that, thank you. May God bless you and your family. and thank you for your continued service. And I request my remarks be printed in the Journal.
Without objection, so ordered.